Hi, I'm Marcy. Welcome to Woolmaid's World, and this is episode 8 of the Woolmaid's World podcast. You probably don't know me. I am a knitter, sewist, all-around crafting enthusiast from New York City. I don't sell anything. I just obsess over yarn, fabric, books, anything that you can find in Michael's, to be honest, as well as, since it's a little warmer, iced matcha lattes. Today I am going to be talking about my knitting, sewing, and craft projects, of course, as well as some of the books that I've been reading over the month of April at the very end. Everything that I talk about can be found in the description box below this video, so grab a project, settle in with a fun drink, hot or iced, and let's get into it. So let me start with the sweater that I am wearing. This is the No Frills sweater by PetiteKnit. It is a top down knit in the round sweater, and you basically hold fingering weight and mohair together to get a sort of DK like fabric. And I made this a while ago, but maybe like 2 years ago, but it is easily one of my most favorite sweaters. It has lots of ease to it. It's super comfortable thanks to the mohair. It is super soft. So I've known for a while that I've wanted to make a really fun accessory with the leftovers. So I made this. This is the December bow, also by PetiteKnit. There you go. And I used the same exact yarn that I used for the sweater, which is the main fingering weight yarn is Woolberry Fiber Co. in their BFL sock base, and it is the colorway Camp Woolberry, which was another one of those collective exclusive colorways, but I would always check in with Woolberry Fiber Co. because they do a sort of, they do a Woolberry rewind is what they call it, where they release old colorways. So hopefully this color comes down the pike again because it is just dreamy. It is a kind of peachy, like kind of ballerina slippery pink base with different color speckles to it. You can see in the back has a lot of speckles. It's like blue and purple, some yellows, oranges, pinks. Just really nice. Then I held it together with Knitting for Olive's soft silk mohair in the colorway Cream, which is pretty much an off-white, so it gave the sweater and bow much more of a creamy color with like an undertone of peach to it. And I just loved the way the sweater turned out so much. I had to make this bow. I've been loving bows. I think they're so on trend, or at least they were last year. So I've wanted this bow for this particular sweater for at least 1 year. I didn't get around to starting it until September 2024, and this just tells you everything you need to know about me. In September 2024, I finished the main part of the bow and just had this little tiny 2-inch wrap piece to knit, and I just never did it. It sat in a project bag this whole time, so I finally finished it so that this spring I could wear this combination. It is a super easy project. I unfortunately did not weigh my skeins to know how much yarn I used here. I'm so bad about doing that. I wish I had because I want to make more of these, but it really didn't take a lot of yarn at all. I used a size US 4, 3.5 millimeters for this, and the bow starts at one of the ends here. You just, cast on a few stitches, you increase to get this kind of slopey part of the bow, and then once you have a whole bunch of stitches, you just knit a flat piece as if kind of like you were knitting a scarf, and then at the other end you decrease back to a small amount of stitches to just get that point there. And then this little tie is the other thing that's knit. I think that is a US 2 is what I used for that. A little 2-inch piece that's double knit, so it's even easier. And then you use some leftover thread to just weave the bow together and then wrap this piece around to kind of hide the fact that you've sewn the bow together. And then I put it onto a little hair clip that's similar in color and it's one of those springy clips that open, and I literally just threaded the clip right through the back of the bow. I didn't secure it with anything. I might end up securing the ends here just with some more scrap, or I might even just super glue that on because I'm never gonna take it off of the clip just so that it doesn't flop down. And you know, you see this a little bit. I wore it the other day and it was fine. And honestly, who cares if you see a little bit of the clip? But I might just for neatness sake end up securing that a little better so that it doesn't slide around when you put it on. But I just love this so much. It looks super cute when I wore it the other day. You can clip it to your hair. You can clip it to like a bag or something. I think the actual pattern shows you how to put a little like leather loop on it so that you could hang it on a hook. I think that the applications for the December bow are endless, and I am thrilled with how that came out. So that brings me to finished object number 2. This is the Shift Cowl by Andrea Mowry. Another one that has been super popular for years, and this is my first shift cowl. And the yarn that I used with it is Junction Fiber Mill on the Making Tracks base. And the colorways, use 3 colorways on this. So this kind of blue that you see right here, and it goes like blue into this peachy pink, that is the colorway Alpenglow. Then, where are we? All of these like oranges into pinks, that is Zinnia. And then the yellow that you see throughout here, and then more on the bottom here, that is Leaves in the Brook. And I didn't bother to check my gauge for this pattern because it is a cowl. It doesn't really need to have a specific fit. I think I used the same needles recommended in the pattern, which were a US 5. It came out slightly bigger than the pattern measurements listed. It was bigger by like at least 3 inches, but I think it, you know, I think it still looks good. It doesn't really matter if it's big. It just came out maybe a little bit longer. Sorry for any microphone noise. Yeah, but it just fits nicely. It's really nice and warm, comes down like this, and I just think it's a really good project for spring with all these pinks and purples and yellows matching the spring flowers. I got the yarn at a super cute shop, which is right on the border of New Hampshire and Vermont. It's called the Woolly Thistle. I went there on a leaf peeping trip with my husband this past fall, and it's right in West Lebanon, New Hampshire, and right very close to Junction Fiber Mill. And I haven't worn it yet, but I am looking forward to wearing it this spring. And then the last project I finished, I'll show you how it looks on a project momentarily, but the last project I finished are these clay charms, these polymer clay charms. I think I did talk about it last episode. I had went to the Rebecca Yarros 4th Wing book tour for the new book Onyx Storm in January, and I made myself earrings and then a charm for my knitting. I made these 4th Wing inspired earrings, and ever since making these in January, I have just been obsessed with clay and making clay charms. So I decided to make some more. I made a little stack of books. I've made a couple of donuts with, let's get these out the way. I made a couple of donuts with frosting. My camera wants to donuts with frosting, and then I made some sort of like candy hearts, or my interpretation of candy hearts, with little kind of book sayings on it. So I think that says OTP, one true person. This one says HEA, happily ever after. This one says love on it, and then there's another one on my project that I have coming up. But these are super easy to make. I ended up getting a little polymer clay set for Christmas one year, I think maybe 2 years ago, and I'm just getting around to making a whole bunch of charms with them. And it came with just a couple of like plastic cutting tools, and then the instructions for baking, of course. And then you have a whole bunch of these individually wrapped clay pieces in different colors. And I bought a couple of things off of Amazon to help me make all my different charms. The first one being this acrylic roller here that you use to roll the clay to whatever thickness you need, and it's helped by having these different little rubber pieces on the side. If you've ever made like a pie and need to roll pie crust to a specific thickness, and you can get one of these, like you can get something like this for your rolling pin to help you roll it out to a specific thickness. That is literally the same exact concept on this clay roller. Got that on Amazon, as well as these clay cutters here, and they helped me basically make the shapes of the clay. So for my Fourth Wing inspired charms, you can see, that's not it, you can see I use this dragon one here. For my, I'll close that in a minute, for my candy hearts, I used these Valentine's Day inspired heart things. So yeah, you just roll them out, cut them out with that, and then bake them in just your regular oven, or even toaster oven if you have one. And yeah, it just came out so good. I've already started using them on some of my projects, and I just love them. So that brings me to works in progress. I have had exactly one project on the needles this whole week leading up to taping this podcast episode, because I am so excited, so looking forward to finally getting this project done. I've had it on the needles since January, and I've had to rip out a large section of the body due to a mistake that I made, and it's finally getting back to where it needs to be, and I'm almost done with it. This is the Avenue Vest by Tori Yu, and it is a top-down vest pattern and comes in two views, a crew neck and a v-neck. I am clearly doing the v-neck version. It is knit, you start with the back, then you knit the front at the shoulders, and then you connect in the round after you get done with the armholes, so the rest of the body is knit in the round after knitting flat in the front and back. It is, I think the pattern, yeah, it's a fairly new pattern. It was published in December 2024, and it is made for worsted weight yarn. I am using more of a DK weight yarn, so I had to adjust my needles and what size that I'm doing. So I'm using a size US 6 needle, 4mm needles, and I am doing a size 5. I think for the pattern, a size 5 might be like a 50-inch bust or something, because I'm using a DK weight yarn. A size 5 is going to give me a 45-inch bust, but the pattern is super size inclusive. It comes in 9 different sizes, and the finished bust measurements go from 34 inches to 66 inches. So the yarn that I am using is from Cloverbrook Farms, and it is a fiber farm in Hyde Park, New York. The yarn itself is made out of 50% alpaca llama and then 50% Shetland wool. All the fiber is raised on the farm, and then I believe that it is milled off site, and it all comes in these natural colors. So I have this sort of light heathery gray here. I got this yarn directly at the farm store. You can buy it online. I bought 2 skeins at the farm store and then ended up needing a 3rd skein when I knew I was going to do this project, and I got that very easily online. My family and I did a llama/alpaca walk where you do like a 1-mile loop along the farm walking with an animal. We did that during Rhinebeck weekend. The farm is very close to Rhinebeck, and it was such a wonderful time. So then we visited the farm store. They have yarn, they have soaps, they have different just products that they make right there on the farm. So the problems, the problems. So this is natural colored yarn. It's not dyed at all, so there's going to be some variation to it. I don't mind that. I like to live dangerously, I guess. I don't typically alternate my skeins. That usually doesn't bother me. However, because this is natural dyed, or this is a natural not dyed fiber, there could just be some weird color variation to it. And right when I got to underneath the bust, there was this band of very deep silver that does not match the rest of it. So there's this little silver part right there. I somehow did not see this. I did not see it while I was knitting it. Didn't even notice that there was just this like little band of silver at the bust line. I went to go try it on. I was almost done with it. I needed to see if the length was good. I took a picture to send to my mother, and when I looked at the picture, I was just like, oh my God, what is this band? It was literally right here across the bust, 1 to 2 inches. It looked like maybe the garment had gone see-through and you could see the band of my sports bra. And then it went back to this natural heathered gray, and it bothered me so much. I had to rip it out. So I was almost done with it, like I said. So this here, where my little 4th wing charm is, is where I had to rip out to. So literally just right underneath the armhole. And so this is how much progress I've gone since I have ripped out the damn thing. And I am trying to do about 1 inch a day. So for today, I am almost there. I need just a couple more rows, and this is one of my handmade heart charms, and that says smut on it. And I am so close to being done with this. I cannot wait because I've had this on the needles for so long. I've had to rip out. It was on a timeout. It was on a real timeout until end of March, when I decided to rip the damn thing and restart. I am so close to being done. I cannot wait. I just want to wear this thing. I don't want to be knitting it anymore. I'm almost there. So, oh, and of course, as I said, that was my handmade 4th wing charm that inspired me to make more charms, and I brought this project with me to the Rebecca Yarros tour in this super adorable 4th wing inspired project bag. If you know the book, there's a quote on it. There's nowhere in existence you could go that I wouldn't find you violence. And then the inside are the dragons. This is from Ginger Snap with like the little leather bottom. I love this bag so much. The next work in progress that I haven't been working on it too much in the past week. I think I maybe did like 1 or 2 rows on it this week. Has been the Bandit cardigan. Bandit Cardi. This is by Jack Cslack. And I too am almost done with the body of this, but this is going to have sleeves, so I still have to do the sleeves. This yarn that I'm using for the mane is Woolberry Fiber Co. in their Berry Merino 100% Super Wash. Where is that skein? Here it is. Woolberry Fiber Co. in their Berry Merino, which is 100% Super Wash, and that is the colorway Ode to Valentine. Another one of my favorite kind of pink and then speckled. You can see it's kind of the bright partner to the sweater that I'm wearing. And then the collar, the button band here, and then eventually the bottom hem will have this contrast color. And this is Malabrigo yarn in the Arroyo base, and it is the colorway English Rose. It's 100% merino. And I believe it is a sport weight or like a light sport weight, but since it is just for the button band, it's not really giving me any trouble. So that is totally fine. Actually, I think the entire cardigan, the Bandit Cardi, might be written for sport weight yarn. And again, I have modified it a little bit size-wise so that I could make it fit for a lighter weight yarn. I am also doing a size 5 for this, which will give me, at my gauge for fingering weight yarn, a 46-inch bust. The cardigan is very cute. It's naturally knit it's knit flat because it's a cardigan, so you just knit back and forth. It is knit from the top down. It has a seamless yoke to it, and it's got plenty of ease built in. I believe there is a cropped or a full length version. I am gonna end up doing the cropped version, and then it's got these full length balloon sleeves. It's super playful, it's really cute, and I am almost done. The actual color scheme here was inspired by a different pattern, and it is the Claude Cardigan by Colibri by Joanna. And I'll put that picture right here now so you can see it. I saw that pattern first, and I knew that I had a very similar yarn, and I really wanted to make it, but the problem that I had was that this pattern is written for a super bulky weight yarn, or maybe 2 heavier yarns held together, but all I had was 3 skeins of fingering weight yarn, so I am very adept at adapting patterns for different weights of yarn. But I just knew that a super bulky to a fingering weight was never going to work. That was going to be way too much. I didn't have enough yardage to even do that. So I decided to go with the Bandit Cardigan and then just take the color inspiration from the Claude Cardigan. And yeah, so I am almost done with that. And that pattern was on my spring inspiration board, or my spring mood board, and this last project that I am continuing to work on a weekly basis is also from my spring mood board, and it is actually a sewing pattern. It's a little bit big and unwieldy to show right now, but it is a linen skirt. The pattern is the Estuary Skirt by So Liberated, and like I said, this is another project from that spring mood board. I made the mood board kind of hoping that it would guide me through my projects. It would provide inspiration and sort of like its own little encapsulated queue for me to pick projects from, rather than trying to kind of make a whole bunch of projects that I wasn't really feeling or that didn't have a purpose in my life at the moment. So I'm really finding so far, 2 projects in, that the spring mood board is helping me. But back to the skirt. This is a print at home PDF pattern from So Liberated. I got it right on their website, but I have seen the pattern sold on Etsy or at yarn shops as like a printed tissue paper pattern, if you prefer to do that instead. It is a beginner to advanced beginner friendly pattern, and it's got 2 views. It has one with patch pockets and then one with inseam pockets, which is the one that I'm doing now. And what I really like about this pattern is that it's got this button placket, and so it's kind of, so You can see here that the skirt is really big at the waist here because it has elastic. That is the thing that actually holds the skirt up. And then it's got this button placket that with 2 buttons at the waistband, and then the button placket goes all the way down the skirt here with different buttons. And the thing that makes this like beginner or advanced beginner is that you can either do the button placket with like working buttonholes, or you can just do faux buttons and, you know, close the thing up and then just sew the button on through both the layers, and it's gonna look exactly the same. So I think that's what kind of makes it a really good beginner-friendly pattern if you are not familiar with buttonholes, if you don't want to chance, you know, a whole bunch of buttons going down the very front of your garment. That is a really good compromise to still be able to do this skirt without chancing doing buttons holes, which, you know, can be kind of tricky. What else? Oh, so the pattern is designed for woven fabrics. You can do it with cotton, rayon challis, light to mid-weight denim or chambray, and then of course mid-weight linen or linen blend. So that is what I am using. I am using I'm using the mid-weight European linen from Core Fabrics. Where's my little label? What I love about Core Fabrics is, well, I mean, I love everything about Core Fabrics, but what I love about Core Fabrics is that they send these fun little labels with the fabric, so you can clip it onto a little swatch and you know exactly what the fabric is, you know what the weight is and how to care for the fabric. So this fabric has such a gorgeous drape to it, and it actually came to me pre-washed. So with linen, it could sometimes feel like a little bit scratchy or rough, and then as you keep washing it, it just gets softer and softer. This fabric came to me already so soft. I've already washed it once anyway before sewing, but it was just soft. The drape is really nice, and the color, this is raspberry, is so beautiful, so saturated, and this is one of their kind of stock fabrics, so they have it in a whole bunch of different really rich, really saturated colors, and it's something that's going to be really good for summer. It's linen, it's got thermoregulating properties, so you can even wear it outside of summer layered on different things, and it is going to be something that will be really nice to wear all year long. So I just have a few finishing details to be done with this, and then right in time for spring and summer to wear it. So, oh God, I've done so much talking. I need to refill my drink here, and then we are just gonna wrap up this podcast episode by talking about some books. I have such a mixed review for this book that I read in the end of March. It is The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. It is a thriller. It's about 330 pages, and I tore through this book in about 24 hours over part of a Saturday and then part of a Sunday. I don't really read thrillers that much, so I was very surprised with myself for tearing through this book. I can't remember the last time I tore through a physical book in 24 hours. I mean, I can't remember the last time I tore through any book in 24 hours. This book can only be described as female revenge porn, which, if you ask my husband, I love. I love that category of book. I love when a woman just gets revenge against the patriarchy. But with this book, the very last scene, I'm not going to say what it is, but if you know, you know, the very last scene irked me so much. This is number 1 in a series, in the Housemaid series, and the end of the book is just so on the nose, just too on the nose, I guess, maybe setting up the rest of the series, and it just ruined the book for me. And another thing, one of the point of view characters is so unlikable, which, I mean, great writing, Frida McFadden, for making a character so unlikable, but she has this redemption arc, sort of, and I just didn't buy it. I did not buy the redemption arc. I still hate her, and I didn't find her motivation to be believable or true. I'm told by the lovely knitters of the Love and Stitches book club, for which this was the March pick, that the second book in the series does not pick up directly where the first book ends. So maybe I would read the second book, but I don't know. I'm probably not going to be honest. I think I gave this book a 4 on Goodreads because I liked it more than not. Clearly I finished it in a full day, so I did like it all the way up until the end. But I think on Goodreads, where you can give fractional stars, I think I gave it a 3.5 to a 3.75 because it was just too revenge porny, even for me who apparently likes that kind of thing. The next book that I read, I have 3 different audiobooks that I just kind of tore through this month because of all the sewing that I'm doing. Usually when I knit, I could be watching TV or something, or watching another podcast here on YouTube. I cannot do that while I'm sewing. I really need to focus, so I listen to audiobooks instead. And the first one that I listened to is Finlay Donovan is Killing It, and that's by Elle Cosimano. That's the first in another series, and my husband is clearly right about me because this is the second book in a row that I've read that has something to do with women getting revenge, but it's like the cozy murder mystery to The Handmaid's Tales, or The Handmaid's Tale. Yeah, it's Finlay Donovan is the cozy version of the like straight up revenge that is in The Housemaid. Finlay Donovan is a murder mystery. She is a writer and just hits rock bottom when she's going through this custody battle with her ex-husband, and like her writing career is also on the rocks, and in a series of really bad choices, Finlay is thought to be a contract killer by mistake and just ends up involved with these super bad people, such bad choices, but the book was really cute. And unlike the last book, the ending of this just sets up number 2 perfectly. It's chef's kiss. I will definitely be going to the next book in the series on this. I think I gave this a 4 on Goodreads. I didn't put my ratings down here, but you can find my Goodreads and Storygraph link below in the description, as well as what the actual stars were that I gave it. The next book that I listened to on audiobook was In the Weeds by B.K. Borison. This is number 2 in a series. The first book is Love Light Farms. I listened to that during December. It takes place on a Christmas tree farm, so Love Light Farms is a really super cute kind of story, you know, just to get you into the Christmas spirit. This is In the Weeds is number 2 in the series, and all the books in the series follow a different owner from Love Light Farms. And the first one, super cute. I kind of think of them as what I call empty calories, which is just to say that it's really delicious. Is there anything super meaningful in it? No, but you know, sometimes you just need something really good just to take your mind off things, or to just, you know, keep you going a little bit in between some of the more serious books that you might read. So Love Light Farms, totally empty calories. In the Weeds, even more empty calories. I found this one just okay, not as good. There was not as much like meat to it in this contemporary romance, but it was fine. I'm gonna continue on with the series because I just find it's super cute. It's something, they have the entire series for me on Hoopla, which you can just get those books right away without waiting. I was waiting for my next book to be ready for me on Libby, so I just kind of picked this one up in between, and it was a good little filler. Not great though. Okay. The next book, the last book that I read that I just finished, is Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. This one is a super spicy contemporary romance, and it follows a D1 swimmer at Stanford University, a swimmer and a diver, and the plot is a little bit more on the meaty side. It explores trust and friendship, as well as PTSD and parental abuse. It is on the spicier side. I think everyone's kind of spiciness meter is different. That's a very personal thing. This one, Allie explains at the very beginning of the book, explores kink. I'm giving it kink in air quotes because there are no ball gags in it, and I don't know, can it really be kink without ball gags? I'm not sure. That's your call. So I gave it a 4 out of 5 chili peppers on my personal spiciness meter. This is my first Allie Hazelwood, and I was really into it. I started kind of falling in love with all the characters, and then 3/4 of the way through the book, I realized what was going on. I knew who the villain was going to be, and I just desperately didn't want that person to be the villain. I hate her. I think if I reread this book again, I would see all the manipulations going on, and I'm just very sad that she turned out to be the villain of the book, causing the conflict. And I just think that's great. I just think that's great writing. Like, when you fall so much for a character and then they turned out to be a jerk, it makes you sad. I loved Allie Hazelwood. I am going to read so many more of her books. I think I have a couple more on my Libby queue that I'm waiting for. So cannot wait to finish more of that. So anyway, I'm just babbling now. If you made it this far, thank you so much for sticking with me. I will see you on the next episode.